didn't want to engage because of his emails. Thank you. Everybody ready? Okay, we'd like to welcome everyone to our West Haven City Council meeting tonight. It is February 6th or 18th, 2026, and it is 6 o'clock. My name is Rob Vanderwood, and I'm the mayor of West Haven, and I'll be conducting this meeting. Overall, we're glad to have everyone here, and we are missing a few people due to the weather. And so we appreciate having our community director online with us tonight, and our legal counsel, and one of our council members, Councilmember Morse. So we're glad that everyone's here. Thank you, staff, for being here, and our sheriff's department for representing here as well, and everyone that's online and here and present as well. So we'll get started tonight with our opening ceremonies. We'll start with our Pledge of Allegiance by Councilmember Schwab and our prayer or moment of silence by Councilmember Dixon.
Please rise and repeat the pledge with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our kind and gracious Father in heaven, we are so grateful to be here tonight as the City Council to conduct the business of the city. Father, we are grateful for all of those who work on our behalf, for our first responders, for our police, and for all of our military. We're especially grateful for the snow that we've received, and we ask you to please bless us with more, that we can have enough for this summer. Please also bless that we can be safe on the roads as it is very snowy, and that we will all be able to get to where we need to be. Father, please bless us as we are making decisions for the city, that we will be able to contemplate the things that we need to do and make the best decision possible. Again, Father, we are so grateful for our country, and we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Right. That concludes our opening ceremonies. Thank you, Councilmember Schwab and Councilmember Dixon, for that. We'll move on to item 3, our public presentation. This is for residents attending this meeting that will be allotted 2 minutes to express a concern or ask a question about any issue that is not on the agenda. No action can or will be taken on any of the issues that are presented. Do we have anyone that would like to come forward at this time? Seeing none, we'll move on to item 4, upcoming events. We have our music circle at the barn on February 23rd. That is at 7 p.m. Looking forward to having attendance there. We've got our general plan open house that will also be at the barn. That'll be on February 24th. That starts at 5:30. We'd love to see as much of the public participate in that meeting as well, and give your input on that overall. So we're excited about that as well. Our senior lunch bunch will be on February 25th. That also will be at the barn. That's a shocker, right? The barn. And we've got, that'll be at 11:30 a.m. And we've got a great group that's coming out. We'd like to have more involved with that, and love to invite you out to that. And then we have our acrylic painting workshop that will be at the barn as well on March 9th. And that starts at 6 p.m. Is that sold out? Do you know? Okay. So hopefully get in and get signed up before that's over. You can sign up on our website on there. We'll move on to item 5 on here for our council updates. Does the council have any updates they'd like to share with the public on anything that you're involved with? Okay. I know just for updates on there, we did have some graffiti that was in the city on 2550 and 3500 over at Kaysville Elementary. And they got that cleaned up quickly. I wanted to thank publicly the Taylor Fifth Ward for helping to get that cleaned up immediately as soon as people woke up in the morning and started getting that taken care of and cleaned up, and thank the city for providing that graffiti removal to get it done. We hope that if people have concerns or want to tag the city, that they do it a different way so they don't damage people's property. It's concerning, and we hope that, we don't need those kind of things within our city. So we hope that that will be remedied in the future.
Mayor, I was just thinking it might be nice to send a thank you note to the Taylor Fifth Ward to thank them for watching out for us, especially on a Sunday morning.
Yeah, it's great. That's a great idea. Thank you. All right. Anything else on that? Okay, we'll move on to item 6, action on consent agenda. Item A is budget kickoff meeting minutes. That was a great meeting and glad we had it. That was on January 27th of 2026. Item B is for council meeting minutes. That was held on February 4th of 2026. Those are our consent agenda items that we had. Any concerns or questions on any of those overall? Okay, seeing none, I'm open for motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda items for the budget kickoff meetings and the city council meeting minutes.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the consent agenda items? Okay, we'll do a roll call on that. Councilmember Call,
Aye.
Councilmember Schwab,
Aye.
Councilmember Morse,
Aye.
Councilmember Saunders.
Sorry. Aye. Was that loud enough, Jeff? Aye.
Councilmember Dixon.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries on that. Thank you. Thank you, Councilmember Saunders, for getting ready for that. Item 7 on here, we move on to our public hearing. This is for the purpose of receiving public input on an ordinance amending the city code regarding parking regulations in Chapter 72, Schedule 1 Parking Prohibited section. I think on our public hearing, do we want to have a little discussion prior to that? Or do we want to just move into public hearing? If not, I'm ready for a motion to move into public hearing.
So moved. Second.
We got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, we are set for our public hearing. Do we want to do anything or talk anything about that prior? Were you going to present something, Ed? If we don't have anything prior to that, did you want to give us any leads on that?
Sure,
We end public hearing?
Yeah, the genesis of this request came from council for parking concerns on Hinckley Drive. We've been seeing an increased number of residential and commercial vehicles parking in the shoulder, particularly on the south side of Hinckley, just west of Midland, east of Midland, I should say. And also in addition, there have been also concerns in the past that have been addressed locally and with UDOT's implicit assistance in addressing some traffic and safety pedestrian concerns by the Quest Academy and 4000. The issue with both these roads, 4000 and Hinckley, they are state roads, and the city cannot directly regulate parking on those state roads. And UDOT has a process whereby the city can request no parking areas on state roads, but it has to go through the regional office, through the operations engineer, who has to submit what they call a traffic engineering order to the UDOT central headquarters in Salt Lake. So if the council adopts this ordinance tonight, designating the no parking areas on 4000 South and Hinckley, that will be forwarded to UDOT. They will make that request on the city's behalf to the central office down in Salt Lake. They will give us approval now to regulate parking on those state roads. As a condition of that, also, the city does have to provide written support that the city will in good faith enforce this ordinance once it's put into effect.
Okay, perfect.
And I
Thank
believe in this, the ordinance shows the maps of the areas that we're talking about.
Thank you. And it's in our packet. I think we all got a chance to review that. Did you have any concerns or issues before we could move forward with our public hearing? Thank you, Ed. Okay, is there anyone that would like to come forward or give any information on our public hearing? Okay, seeing none, we'll move out of that. I would need a motion to close our public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion on closing our public hearing? All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, motion carries. So we'll move now into item 10, I'm sorry, item 8 on here, action on ordinance 04-2026, an ordinance amending the city code regarding parking regulations in chapter 72, schedule 1, parking prohibited.
I will make a motion to approve ordinance 04-2026, an ordinance amending the city regarding parking regulations in chapter 72, schedule I, parking prohibited.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this ordinance? We'll do a roll.
I guess I have one question.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
Sure.
At Quest Academy, isn't the south side of the street already painted red? So we're just making this official? Yeah.
Yes, UDOT did say it was okay at the time, but to make it official and enforceable, we have to go through this process.
And so we're painting the north side.
And the school itself had painted part of the north side
Okay.
Towards the western entrance and between the entrances, but not to the east of the east entrance. And that was decided upon with input from the city and with UDOT and Quest itself.
And the school.
Yes.
Yeah. It's great clarification too.
It's just a kind of a nightmare when they're picking up their kids there.
It is.
And if we're painting it all red, where are they gonna go? I mean, we don't want them there, but the circulation of the parking lot is not so great for
I
pickup.
think it's just for parking and still circulate through there.
Okay.
So I think they just don't want anybody parking there and messing up their circulation the way it works out.
Okay.
So let's see, we ended up,
Got a motion and a second.
we got the motion in a second. All good to go with that. We'll do a roll call on that one. Councilmember Saunders?
I think
Uh,
Dixon.
Oh,
made the
Councilmember
motion.
Saunders.
Okay.
Aye.
Councilmember Dixon?
Aye.
Councilmember Call?
Aye.
Councilmember Schwab?
Aye.
And Councilmember Morse?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries on that. Thanks. Just keeping you on your toes. All right.
I'm awake now.
All right, we'll move on to our next item on here, which is item 9, for the purpose, a public hearing for the purpose of receiving public input on an ordinance authorizing the adoption of a franchise agreement between West Haven City and Strata Networks LLC. And I'm not sure who's,
It might be best if I take it, Mayor, just because I wrote the staff report and have been talking to Strata. Strata Networks would like to install a fiber optic internet network within a Nielsen Homes project. It looks like Sylvia Wilkins is here. She's a representative of Strata Networks. Well, she's not here. She's on Zoom also. But there's a $1,000 application fee that they have to pay. And that's set by the current West Haven Consolidated Fees and Fine Schedules. They also have to apply for excavation permits and any other permits to cut into the road and work with the city engineer and the public works director regarding the installation of the fiber. The agreement is pretty standardized agreement. Where it's being proposed is attached as Exhibit A for the council to be able to have that as a reference.
okay,
And like I said, Ms. Wilkins is here on Zoom to be able to answer any questions that the council has about their project.
okay. We'll open it up to the council for questions. Do you have some questions to ask?
I don't.
No questions from the council?
Does Strata open up their fiber to multiple internet providers, or is it just a single provider? How does that work?
I don't know. Can you answer that, Amy?
I think it'd best be if Strata answers the question.
Okay.
Yeah, Sylvia, do you want to take that one or would you like me to?
Yeah, I'll defer to you, Tyler. Thank you.
Thank you, council, and I apologize. We're not able to be there in person tonight. We thought it best with the Zoom option to not venture out on the roads tonight. To answer your question, yes, we do have several scenarios where we provide an open access solution, meaning we allow multiple service providers to leverage our infrastructure to get to end units. In this particular situation, that's not the way we're deploying, but it's not something that we would it's something that we could consider in the future for this particular development, but it's not something we're doing today. So
Okay.
So is Utopia putting a line in to the subdivision as well?
I don't know if they are or not. I don't have
How
that
does that work under our
information.
contract? I mean, I think the point of Utopia is to make sure that all residents have fiber, one, but two, that they have open access to choose from the free market on what provider they have. And I think it's not correct for all these new subdivisions coming in to single source all of the new residents to a single commitment on fiber.
Well,
Question.
yeah, that's, can I speak to that? That's not what's happening here. I'm not sure where you got that information.
so, Councilmember Swap, this is not in violation, these franchise agreements are not in violation of the Utopia agreement.
No,
There was another company that, had talked about coming in, to install fiber, for their own system. And I'd actually called Utopia to talk to them about their, their agreement and stuff just to see where we were at with that. And these are not in violation of that, nor can we say exclusively that, Utopia is the only one in the city, even though we have that other agreement to get it installed.
And Mr. Mayor, and I'd welcome any correction, but my understanding is that this is a franchise agreement to be on a portion of the city's right of ways, but it'll ultimately end in an HOA, and Utopia doesn't necessarily serve HOAs because those are on private streets. And so there's a point where, it'll be within our right of way, but then the actual deployment will go further into an HOA, which again, Utopia, those are private roads, and Utopia hasn't essentially been able to negotiate, I guess, what Strata negotiated with that HOA.
Can I just clarify something, Sean?
Mhm.
Utopia is allowed to go into the HOAs. They just require that the HOA reach out to the president of the HOA has to ask for it. And so it requires residents within the HOA going to the HOA president or chairperson and asking them to contact Utopia and sign some sort of agreement with Utopia. I believe this is going into Green Farms. Is that correct?
That's correct. I think it's important to point
Yeah.
out to the council that Strata is simply seeking a franchise agreement to serve locations in your city, and you've already issued similar franchise agreements to several providers. This particular development that we're serving is not excluding other providers from being in the same subdivision. In fact, there's already other providers there. And so, again, I'm not sure where the council's getting the information that this is like an exclusive bulk deal with an HOA. Strata does work a variety of agreements with developers, but this is not a bulk agreement with the HOA itself. That's not what this is. In fact, again, I'm not here to speak on behalf of Utopia, but I'm quite sure that Utopia and at least one other provider have conduit infrastructure in this development already.
Yeah, I was just gonna finish my thought for you, Councilmember Swab, and tell you that Utopia is actually in Green Farms already, as well as CenturyLink Fiber.
Perfect. And just to clarify my thoughts there, I just wanted to make sure that Utopia, under our contract, can still service everywhere. I am all about fair competition and having multiple fiber lines ran. I think that's great. I just wanted to see what Utopia stance was on that. So thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. Any other questions from the council? Okay, if not, I'm ready for a motion.
We still need motion for public hearing.
Yeah, we still need to get in there, don't we?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to enter public hearing on the franchise agreement between West Haven and Strata Networks.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. Any other discussion on this before we vote? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, do we have anyone that'd like to come forward on that? Seeing none, we'll move out of public hearing and I'll take a motion to move out of public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we're now out of public hearing. Thank you for that. We'll move to item 10, action on ordinance 05-2026, an ordinance authorizing the adoption of a franchise agreement between West Haven City and Strata Networks LLC. Any further discussion on that at all? Not, I'm ready for a motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance 05-2026, to an ordinance authorizing the adoption of a franchise agreement between West Haven City and Strata Networks LLC.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this ordinance? We'll do a roll call on this one. Councilmember Call.
Aye.
Councilmember Schwab.
Aye.
Councilmember Morse.
Aye.
Councilmember Saunders.
Aye.
Councilmember Dixon.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries on that. Thank you for being here and explaining that to us. We appreciate it and good luck in your ventures as you move
Thank you
forward.
for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. We'll move to item 11 on here. This is for a public hearing for the purpose of receiving public input on opening the current 2025-26 budget for amendments. Do we want to, anything forward on that?
I could speak to that,
Take
Mr.
that.
Mayor,
Thank you.
Council. So this budget amendment proposes essentially 3 items that amount to $61,000 with this upcoming spring and summer, which would fall within fiscal year 26. There's the need to increase the resources for our Parks Department and the maintenance of some of our parks. As you know, recently the city's added quite a bit of acreage of park space that needs to be maintained. So the first portion of fiscal year 26, city staff did that independently as far as what's being proposed tonight. It was without these amendments. And so they really fell behind. And it created a situation where residents expressed some concerns and complaints about a trail system specifically, and about some of the acreage and improvements in green farms, which was one of the park spaces that the city ended up taking here recently. And so, in an effort to get ahead of the maintenance responsibilities, it's being proposed that we amend the agreement to engage a contractor to help with green farms and the cemetery. And the idea is, obviously the cemetery's been with the city for some time, but the idea is that those are projects that a third-party contractor could undertake, and then the city could use its resources in other ways. And specifically with potentially an early spring and the start of the landscape season, we anticipate that the weeds, in order to stay ahead of the weeds and to apply pre-emergence, which would curtail the weeds, so that we would start in March doing that. And so what's being proposed is the contractors would essentially assume responsibilities for, again, green farms and the cemetery starting March, and the city would again start to engage in some of those other projects. Again, in an effort to curtail weeds and stay on top of the maintenance responsibilities. So then the other item, and Ed's here, and he can certainly speak to questions about it, but as an overview, UDOT performs inspections on all of the city's bridges, and what UDOT considers a bridge is any, bridge or structure that spans more than 20 feet in length. And in one of the inspections that they did recently, they noted a concern relative to scouring, or essentially the water that's conveyed under the bridge undermining one of the abutments. And interesting enough, the Bureau of Reclamation also became aware of it. I don't know what program they do or how it rose to their attention, but they also reached out to the city and expressed concern. And so the city is responsible for the road and the bridge structure. But I see Ed here, so maybe I'll tag out and let Ed tag in.
It's okay. The bridge in question is actually, it's the Layton Canal, which flows under this bridge. And for you're not familiar with Layton Canal, although it's administered by Weber Basin, it's actually owned by the federal government Bureau of Reclamation. And I believe, so State Code Chapter 72 gives UDOT and the state the right to regulate state, local, and county roads. And one of the requirements under the rules that UDOT is required to inspect all bridges within the state once every 2 years. And municipalities are required to, are responsible for the maintenance and upkeep of the same. So every 2 years, they go around, and we have two of these specific bridges in the city, which they inspect. And the one over the Layton Canal has shown significant scour. The abutment is exposed. It's not, I wouldn't say it's in danger of failing, but it's rated probably more fair to poor in terms of its condition and need for repair. I believe somehow the Bureau of Reclamation also gets copies of the reports. And even though this has been pointed out in the past, and the rating has pretty much stayed the same as not necessarily urgent, but requiring attention. They asked the city to be a little more proactive in responding to how this situation be addressed. So we reached out to the list of qualified geotechnical consultants that UDOT procures every year and got them to take an initial look at the bridge and give us a proposal for what it would take to evaluate the needs to stabilize the bridge. There's issues obviously with the scour from the canal itself, but there also could be some impacts from the road drainage that's coming down the embankment, which also might be contributing to it as well. So we're hoping to get this budget amendment approved so we can get the survey and the engineering analysis done to get a solution so that once the irrigation season ends in October, we could implement the repairs necessary to stabilize the bridge for long-term and hopefully bring satisfaction to UDOT and to the Bureau of Reclamation.
Okay. Great. Thanks for that explanation. Appreciate that. Okay, with that, we'll go ahead and move into our public hearing overall. So let's do a motion to move into public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion on moving into public hearing? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, we'll move into our public hearing now. At this point, does anyone at this point like to come up and have any discussion? Anytime we amend the budget or change the budget at all, it requires that we have a public hearing. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move out of our public hearing. I need a motion for that.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the public hearing? If not, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, we're out of public hearing now. We'll move on to item 12. Action on ordinance 06-2026, opening the current 2025-26 budget for amendments. Thank you for the explanation in advance. Any questions from the council before we move on that?
Just when we make the motion, do we need to have the amount?
See the resolution.
It's, I believe that the spreadsheet would be attached to the resolution that has the amount of 61, I think it's 61,000.
So 6, okay.
Yeah, and I guess the only question I had on it before we do that is, so the responsibility falls on the city on this, and I'm a little surprised that there's not some responsibility from either Weber Basin or Layton Canal or some shared responsibility.
I think we're of the same thinking, Mayor, and we are setting up a meeting with Weber Basin to discuss this issue because obviously the scour is caused by the condition of the canal itself too.
Well, water, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and I think, that's that the city doesn't run the water, but anyway, the idea behind it is to set the budget so that we have it available, correct? If we can't get.
Correct. So we actually have a plan on how it would be addressed.
Okay, fantastic. That answers my question. Any other questions?
Yeah. Unfortunately, the statute doesn't speak to this. It just says that the city's requirement for complying with the recommendations in the state reports. So, but obviously there's extenuating circumstances here that
appreciate
should be
that.
addressed.
Okay, I'm ready for a motion. If you guys don't have any questions, if the council doesn't have any more questions.
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance 06-2026 of the current 2025-26 budget for amendments.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this ordinance? Okay, we'll do a roll call on this one. Councilmember Call.
Aye.
Councilmember Saunders.
Aye.
Councilmember Dixon.
Aye.
Councilmember Schwab.
Aye.
And Councilmember Morse.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries on that. Thank you. All right, we'll move on to item 13, action on Planning Commission meeting recommendations. Item A is action on ordinance 07-2026, the third amendment to the Staker Farms Master Development Agreement. And let's see,
Stephen.
we want to turn that over to Stephen? Stephen, there, we can't see our screens on here. Is he available?
I'm here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Council. So the proposal that's in front of you, it would be the third amendment to the Staker Farms Development Agreement. And they're looking at proposing to remove the current setback requirements that are within the current development agreement and use the setbacks for the underlying zone, which would be R1. And so just a little bit of background on this. So the applicant this was recently raised because the applicant came in with a building permit, or two building permits actually, that had the lots or the homes proposed to meet the R1 setbacks as currently codified within code. However, they did not match the setbacks within the development agreement. Staff saw this, and so we issued corrections. And so that's kind of what started this whole process. Is the applicant is seeking to reduce those setbacks to be able to orient the homes and fit the homes that they would like on the remaining lots within the Staker Farm development. So one thing that we did find through this is, so as we did review, the setbacks that are currently being used are contained within a note within the site plan. And the original development agreement was approved in June 19th in 2019. And then the first phase plat was approved in May 5th, 2020. After that, on May 20th, 2020, the City Council, through Ordinance 2020, updated the R1 zoning standards, including the setbacks. And then minutes from the meeting indicate that the council reduced the setbacks to match the R2 zoning. There was no red lines on the version of that ordinance, so I can't verify that what the setbacks were prior. I spoke to Emily and we kind of did some research, and we weren't able to find it in our review. And so it does seem like there is some indication that potentially what had happened was that the setbacks listed within the development agreement were the setbacks of the R1 zone at the time, and later they were reduced. That's essentially what the applicant believes happened. I can't verify that, but there are some indications of that potentially could be correct. However, that being said, in July of 2020, so a month after the new zoning requirements were adopted, the NDA was signed, and so it was signed almost a year after the initial approval. But then in January of 2022 and August of 2022, the Staker Farms Phase 2 and Phase 3 plats were recorded, and both those plats had the setbacks as listed in the preliminary site plan within the MDA. So like I said, the applicant and has indicated that they believe the note on the plat was just a reflection of the R1 zoning setbacks at the time. However, staff, we haven't been able to verify whether that's true. What is true is that the R1 zoning and setbacks was modified after the development agreement. After the development agreement was approved. And so what the change would do is essentially eliminate that note, which currently has the front setback is 25 feet, the side setbacks is 10 feet, the side street setback at 20 feet, and the rear setback at 30 feet. What the current R1 zone setbacks are, and they're the same as the R2, is a 25 feet setback from the garage, 20 feet for the home, then 8 feet on both sides, 20 feet for the side street, which is the same, and 22 feet for the rear. And so this will likely have an impact on the orientation and placement of the homes, which could potentially allow a slightly larger home on a property with reducing the yard space on the sides, rear, and potentially in the front as well. So there are a couple things that I would recommend that the city council consider beyond kind of what I've done in the staff report or beyond what I've kind of described in the timeline. Is that the proposed change would be applied to all undeveloped lots within phases 2 through 4 of the Steger Farms development. And the change being proposed in the development or the modified development agreement would also nullify the setback notes on the plat. So in phase 2 and phase 3. And so that's just about 80, it's almost 80 lots that are remaining undeveloped within the Steger Farms development. So, and that's
Stephen,
yeah.
Sorry, did you say 80? 80 lots?
About 80 lots.
Okay.
Phase 4 hasn't been platted yet. And so that's including what would be platted there, but there was 125 lots initially approved in the Steger Farms, and they have developed, let's see, they've developed about 46 of those lots, give or take. And so that would be about 80 lots remaining. The proposed change is not, the proposal does not change anything else about the development agreement. So density is not changing. The overall lot size will remain the same. They'll still have to meet all the other standards. Essentially, the proposal would just remove the current setback requirements. So this has also been, the proposal that's in front of you has been reviewed by staff and the city attorney. We did some negotiations to clean up the agreement to meet a standard that we felt like could be approved. And the last item I wanted to bring up, and something that was brought up by the applicant, is there has been some inconsistency by the city in enforcing the setbacks that are listed within the actual development agreement and on the plats. I went through and looked. I couldn't find, we don't have site plan records for anything starting in 2022. And so some of the lots, I don't know what the site plan was, but I could indicate about 12 properties that were approved with the R1 setbacks and not with the development agreement setbacks. And the last time I saw that the city approved building that didn't comply with the development was back in 2024. The applicant, though, has provided some of the initial site plans from the initial approval starting in 2020 and provided several examples starting in 2020 right after the development agreement was approved, where the city had not enforced the setbacks as listed and were using the R1 setbacks, which is why I think the applicant recently proposed those setbacks, but under current staff, as we reviewed it, we found that it didn't comply with the plat that was recorded. And then after further review of the development agreement, we found that those setbacks were also listed in the site plan within the initial development agreement. Are there any questions about the about the proposal that's in front of the council tonight?
Yeah, does council have questions?
Just a clarification, if we do approve it, what are the conditions that we would want to add to a proposal to approve? Are there any? Do we need to add language about the undeveloped phases 2 through 4, undeveloped lots? If we
I think-
propose to approve, is that what you were saying? I was a little unclear there.
Yeah, so the conditions, staff doesn't have any recommended conditions. That criteria is already listed within the
Ordinance
the-
already.
within the development within the ordinance and the proposed
Okay.
amendment.
All right. Just wanted to clarify that.
Councilmember Morse, did you have any comments?
No, I mean, to me, it makes sense, considering, that's what the current ordinance is.
I'm not in favor of this third amendment. I think there was an agreement made in the MDA, and those are the standards that you follow throughout your whole development.
Okay.
I would concur with that as well.
Okay. Any other questions or concerns?
I think your developer's here asking to speak.
Cool.
Just raising his hand or something.
Yeah.
I don't know if the council would like to hear from him, we can. It's not public hearing, but we can.
Yeah.
It's up to you if you'd like to.
That's fine.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and if you want to come up the mic. Give you 2 minutes.
I appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity. My name's Mike Bastian. I'm the applicant. Address is 1877 West, 4000 South in Roy. What we're asking for, it doesn't change, like Stephen mentioned, lot layout, anything like that. We're just trying to clarify that note. It's a stamp on the plat. It's on the preliminary plat and the development agreement. It's not spelled out in the development agreement. It's not mentioned there anywhere. It was a note, and like we've indicated, we feel like that note was put there because that was what the setback was at the time when R1, the R1 setbacks. That's what it was when the development agreement was entered into. But since then, the city has updated the R1 setbacks, and what it allows for is we've got some houses that we're working on building for some clients right now, and you can put a house at 10 foot on each side, but they'd like a 12-foot RV pad on the one side. So we would shift that same house over 2 feet so that you can get a 12-foot RV pad. That makes a big difference when you're putting an RV pad on the side of the house. So it just gives us that flexibility to reduce a side yard down to what it currently is. And like Stephen indicated, all the plot plans that we've turned in since the development started were drawn at 8 feet on the side yards, what the current R1 setbacks have been since we started building in there. And I believe it's 10 houses we have built to the 8-foot side yards because that was what the R1 setback is and has been since we started building there. Probably an oversight on our part that we didn't realize that stamp was on that preliminary plat in the MDA. Typically in a development agreement, we'll obviously review those and you'll see it spelled out. If setbacks are specific, it'll be a spelled out item in a paragraph, has been my experience with the development agreement. And this is a small stamp on the preliminary plat. And it was an oversight on our side. We're not saying that we didn't miss it, but we're just trying to clear that up and build the houses as per what the R1 zone is currently. And we've built quite a few houses in there matching that R1 setback that is currently the R1 setback.
Okay. All right. Appreciate that.
Do you guys have any questions that I might be able to answer that you guys might have?
Any question from the council? Mr. Bastian?
Mayor, I have just a comment.
Sure.
I guess I disagree with Mr. Bastian when he's talking about how that it's not laid out, because in the original MDA, it very specifically talks about the, adopting Exhibit A and it says the project will consist of the improvements as shown in Exhibit A. Project will consist of 125 new construction lots as shown in Exhibit A. So I have a bit of, a disagreement as to that it's not specifically referenced, because it is. And Exhibit A has the plats, it has the park, it has the property description, has the a picture of the of what the playground equipment is going to look like in the park. So I just wanted to clarify that it is specifically referenced.
Okay. That was legal counsel, Amy. Okay. Any other questions from the council? Thank you, Mr. Bastian.
Okay,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you.
Hey, Mayor, if I may, there's one thing I did fail to mention.
Sure.
The Planning Commission did hold a public hearing on this at the last meeting, and there was no comments received during the public hearing, and the Planning Commission made a positive recommendation on the proposal.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Any other questions from the council on this?
No, I still hold to the same, that it should be what was in the MDA. I mean, if you want current R1, then all the lot sizes should be increased to 20,000 square feet if you want an R1 zone. So you want to change a little bit, but not all of it. So I think you stick with what's in the MDA.
Okay.
Because the lot sizes are bigger now.
All right. Any other questions? Not, I'm ready for motion.
I'll make a motion to deny ordinance 07-2026, the third amendment to the Staker Farms Master Development Agreement.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this action for recommendation? Okay, we'll do a roll call on this one. Councilmember Call?
Aye.
Councilmember Schwab?
Aye.
Councilmember Saunders?
Nay.
Councilmember Dixon?
Nay.
Okay, and Councilmember Morse?
Nay.
Okay, so we have 3 nays and 2 approvals. So do we need to do possible other to approve?
You can consider another motion since that one failed.
Let's consider another motion on that if you're willing to move forward with it.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 07-2026, the amendment to the development agreement, Staker Farms, third amendment, finding that the change is consistent with the underlying zone and that city staff and attorney have reviewed and made appropriate changes to the proposal.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this proposal and recommendation?
I guess I would ask, what is an underlying zone?
Do you want to speak to that, Stephen?
Yeah, so typically within a development agreement or when there's a master plan community, the development agreement governs the development of that project. However, there's questions that are unanswered by that development agreement, then whatever the underlying zone is governs that option. Because a lot of times development agreements don't always get into the full details of every use that could possibly take place within a within a development itself. And so when there are questions, we rely on whatever the property is currently zoned as. And if the development agreement is unclear or does not have exact language that governs it.
Okay. All right.
I just don't know that we have an underlying zone referenced anywhere in ordinance, so it's not spelled out. What is underlying?
What do you, Amy, what do you think about that we don't have an underlying zone on any other ordinance?
Well, with this one, because it does reference R1, because that's what the Exhibit A states, the language in the Third Amendment that is quoted. Hold on, I'm flipping to it. Zoning info, it says currently zoning info R1 zone, residential low density zone, and then it lists out, minimum lot area, front setback, side setback, lot side fronting street, rear setback. That minimum lot area, that 12,005, that's what it was back when the MDA was adopted.
So you think the ordinance covers what we're saying is, I guess my question.
Yes.
Okay.
And well, hold on just a second. I'm flipping through so when you made the motion, was the motion off of Stevens?
Off the first possible motion on the approval,
Oh, if we turn the page, there might be.
there was a second option that with conditions.
I mean, it would probably be better, and this is not a criticism of Stephen, please don't think that it is, Stephen. I would just suggest that you make a motion you amend your motion and just make a motion to approve and adopt the Third Amendment to the Master Development Agreement for the Staker Farms project.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this amendment?
I guess I would just ask you why you want to give some of the R1, but not all of the R1.
I just personally, I feel like the setbacks are not that big of a difference here. I mean, we're talking 8 feet in the rear. This is already, it's not going to change the lot size. We're not doing anything with that. We're just talking about the setbacks and allowing, when I hear the developer talk about what people want to do with the yard, I want to try to accommodate that. So that's where my feeling lies, is that we're not going to change the zone. That's correct. But we're just going to meet the setback since we don't have any other. I mean, we have the guidelines of the MDA. They came in, they've asked for a change, and we can either not do it or do it. And that's my feeling, is that I'm just trying to accommodate the lot owners.
I would agree with that. I think 2 feet, especially when we're not changing the lot size. I would agree with Councilmember Saunders.
It also doesn't change the density or anything else. So for me, it's just like, it's a small convenience to provide to the people buying the homes. I mean, part of my decision too is that it went through the planning commission favorably.
Okay. Any other comments? Okay, we have a motion and a second. Did you want to amend that?
I did.
You did. That's
Yeah.
right, you did.
And I second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this item? Okay, we'll do a roll call on this one. Councilmember Saunders?
Aye.
Councilmember Dixon?
Aye.
Councilmember Call?
Nay.
Councilmember Schwab?
Nay.
And Councilmember Morse?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries 3-2. All right, thank you. Appreciate that. All right, we'll move on to our next item on here, item 14, action on resolution 07-2026 for an interlocal agreement between the city of Riverdale and West Haven regarding financial contributions to supporting the Riverdale Senior Center. Should we turn that over to our city manager, Mr. Sean Warnke?
Thanks. And Mayor Vanderwood's been very instrumental in bringing this proposal forward, and so certainly he has some insights. And also, our legal counsel Amy has been involved in coordinating with Riverdale's legal counsel. So essentially, this is an interlocal agreement that that's being proposed that would allow our residents to have the same consideration for membership fees as does Riverdale residents. And the way that's made up is through a contribution of $2,500 annually that would be made to the city from West Haven City to Riverdale. And we feel like it's a pretty straightforward agreement. I think it does allow, I'd have to check my memory, but there's a termination clause. I think it's 30 days, if I remember right. So there's low risk, and essentially the other thing that I would point out is the amount is $2,500 of our $10 million budget. So as far as the scale or scope of financial obligation, it's pretty low, and I think this is another great partner as far as coordinating and collaborating with them. So the mayor, I think, heard some good reviews from Riverdale, and maybe I'll actually pause there and let the mayor add anything that he would to the conversation.
Oh, I appreciate it. I think just due to the fact that trying to manage and take care of a senior center, which the city does not currently have, we provide services to our seniors in just providing a meal and enjoying some time together once a month. The senior center, I think, is an important part for the mental health and health overall of our seniors of our city. So Riverdale has a really nice facility that was put together, as well as Roy. Roy has one, the Hope Center up there as well. We've worked with the Roy Center and had some success with it, but it seems like the seniors prefer one over the other. So we've kind of looked at Riverdale as an option, and we're able to secure that for a fair and reasonable price. Overall as well, we, by helping the seniors out by paying some of that cost, we don't have to cover the cost of a senior center. The other part of it is that, it helps Riverdale as well with their programming and some lights and things like that for power and things that they have to put forth. So I think overall it was just a fair agreement across the board, and I appreciate, our legal counsel getting that taken care of with their legal and their city attorney as well, to get things taken care of with this and at least produce this so the council could vote on it from there. So.
Hey, I just have a question. If the people still want to go to Roy, does that preclude them of going to Roy, or how does that work?
No, they can go to anyone that they want. They can go to North Ogden or but we're promoting, this one only because it's beneficial. I think it's close, and the preference has been from our seniors that we've discussed that is a place they'd like to attend.
Thank you.
So, but that's a great question. Anyway, thank you for that. Any other questions or concerns with this?
Are we going to create another interlocal to cancel the Roy one?
Yeah, I think you want to answer that.
Yeah, I certainly can. I did send to the council, and you probably haven't seen it. It's actually an excerpt of our current agreement with Roy. It does essentially say that there's a 6-month termination period as far as the notice requirements, and it does say that that August 1st is when the payments due. So I think if you would like to consider canceling, then you would need to put it on the agenda and make a formal motion. I do think it would be well and wise to also ask them for an activity report or summary of how many people are participating or have been participating since Since we entered into that agreement, I do believe that they track that information, and so that might be helpful for you in making a decision. And so, anyways, I think that would be the process. That's the terms that are spelled out within the agreement.
Does that sound fair to the council across the board? Okay, well, if there's any other questions? If not, I'm ready for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 07-2026, the interlocal agreement between the City of Riverdale and West Haven regarding financial contributions to support the Riverdale Senior Center.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this resolution? Okay, we'll do a roll call on this one. Councilmember Dixon.
Aye.
Councilmember Saunders.
Aye.
Councilmember Swap.
Aye.
And Councilmember Call.
Aye.
And Councilmember Morse.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries on that. Thank you. Move on to item 15, presentation and discussion, Mayor and City Council's election, the continuation of any agenda item from our work session. Did we have anything else we wanted to discuss? Seeing none, we'll move on to item 16, adjournment. Ready for a motion?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on adjournment? Obviously not. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. We are adjourned.